Hey, it's Patrick, and let's talk about making your Milwaukee 8 touring bike breathe better. Now, generally when we think about that, we're thinking about air in, air out as far as intake and exhaust. But your engine actually needs to breathe another way. As the engine runs, it builds up crankcase pressure. And as that pressure builds in the crankcase, it's vented out through the breathers in the head into the intake. Some bikes do that excessively, and what happens is it actually fills that air filter up with oil, and that's how you get that blow-by condition down the side of your bike. It's actually created by a blow-by condition inside the engine where that crankcase pressure builds up. Now, it can happen to stock bikes, but it's a little bit more likely to happen to a modified motorcycle. When you start to add horsepower, it builds crankcase pressure. So I'm going to show you another way to make this engine breathe so you don't get all of that nasty blow-by. It can actually also rob horsepower. Too much crankcase pressure in there is going to rob horsepower, and it's going to create that blow-by condition. A real great way to eliminate that is with this transmission top cover. I know that seems a little weird that we're going to use a transmission cover to actually vent the engine, but back here in the stock cover there's actually 3 chambers. And over there on the far side is the chamber that leads to the engine. Trask has done a really trick job of machining this cover and putting a reed valve in there. Basically, it's a one-way flapper valve. So it's going to let the air out right through here, and then we have a little hose and another little breather setup that you can route anywhere you want. Looks pretty hot rod, and it works great. And you may be saying, well, there's already a little breather valve in there on this other side. Well, it's not really a valve, it's just a breather for the transmission. Like I said, there's actually 3 chambers in here. This one will actually vent the engine. On the stock one, there's nowhere for that to get out. So we're gonna swap this out. All you need is a 3/16 Allen and a little bit of patience. It's gonna be tough to get in there. You put this back together, some Loctite, and torque them to 120 inch-pounds. And this engine is going to be freed up and breathing much better. You can see the main difference between our 2 covers here is on the stock one, this covers that cavity that would allow the engine to breathe, and there's no way for air to get out. This is the transmission vent. We still have that same transmission vent here, but we have this nice billet reed valve. So this is going to allow our engine to breathe much freer. We need to reuse this rubber elbow for our transmission vent. We're just going to pull it out of here, and we're going to pull it through the new hole on our new cover. Throw just a little bit of oil on here. Put our gasket back. Now we can put the cover on. When you put these in, if you can, get a torque wrench on there. They're 120 inch-pounds. You're probably not going to be able to get a torque wrench on a lot of these, so just use your best judgment and don't strip them out. All right, all we have left to do is we're going to go to the other side. We're going to attach our breather filter and we'll be done. So all we're going to do is we're going to take our tube, we're going to push it on to our elbow, and then we're going to route the tube somewhere to mount the filter. I like putting them over the starter, and I just cut the tube to length, and I add the filter to the other end. Tuck it back in here. All right, actually, not a terrible install. We only use 2 tools, a 3/16 Allen and a pair of needle nose pliers. Now we're not going to have any blow-by problems with our M8, and we have a nice chrome shiny cover from Trask. Realistically, this is a really easy install, but it might take you a little bit of time because it's tough to get to those 6 Allens, so give yourself a couple of hours. If you have any other questions, go ahead and hit that info tab on your desktop mobile device. That'll take you to the product detail page where you can read other ride reviews and more specs about this cover. If you still have questions, feel free to reach out to our customer service team. They would love to talk to you about what works best for you, your motorcycle, and your budget. I am Patrick. Thank you for watching, and go work on those motorcycles.